I'm Emily Houston, and today we're reading Numbers 20 through 22. There are some big words in here, and some that may be hard to pronounce. I'm dyslexic, been dyslexic my entire life, so bear with me, and we will get through this together. Numbers 20. In the first month, the whole Israelite community arrived at the desert of Zin, and they stayed at Kadesh. There Miriam died and was buried. Now there was no water for the community, and the people gathered in opposition to Moses and Aaron. They quailed with Moses and said, "If only we had died when our brothers fell dead before the Lord. Why did you bring the Lord's community into this wilderness, that we and our livestock should die here? Why did you bring us up out of Egypt into this terrible place? It has no grain or figs, grapevines or pomegranates, and there is no water to drink." Moses and Aaron went from the assembly to the entrance to the tent of meeting and fell face down. And the glory of the Lord appeared to them. The Lord said to Moses, "Take the staff, and you and your brother Aaron gather the assembly together. Speak to that rock before their eyes, and it will pour out its water. You will bring water out of the rock for the community, so they and their livestock can drink." So Moses took the staff from the Lord's presence, just as he commanded him. He and Aaron gathered the assembly together in front of the rock, and Moses said to them, "Listen, you rebels, must we bring you water out of this rock?" Then Moses raised his arm and struck the rock twice with his staff. Water gushed out, and the community and their livestock drank. But the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "But you did not trust me. You did not trust in me enough to honor me as holy in the sight of the Israelites. You will not bring this community into the land I give them." These were the waters of Meribah, where the Israelites quarreled with the Lord, and where he was proved holy among them. Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom, saying, "This is what your brother Israel says. You know what all the hardships that have come on us. Our ancestors went down into Egypt, and we lived there many years. The Egyptians mistreated us and our ancestors. But when we cried out to the Lord, he heard our cry, and sent an angel and brought us out of Egypt. Now we are here at Kadesh, a town on the edge of your territory. Please let us pass through your country. We will not go through any field or vineyard or drink water from any well. We will travel along the king's highway and not turn to the right or to the left until we have passed through your territory." But Edom answered, "You may not pass through here. If you try, we will march out and attack you with our sword." The Israelites replied, "We will go along the main road, and if we or our livestock drink any of your water, we will pay for it. We only want to pass through on foot, nothing else." Again they answered, "You may not pass through." Then Edom came out against them with a large and powerful army. Since Edom refused to let them go through their territory, Israel turned away from them. The whole Israelite community set out from Kadesh and came to Mount Hor. At Mount Hor, near the border of Edom, the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Aaron will be gathered to his people. He will not enter the land I give the Israelites, because both of you rebelled against my command at the waters of Meribah. Get Aaron and his son Eleazar, and take them up Mount Hor. Remove Aaron's garments and put them on his son Eleazar, for Aaron will be gathered to his people. He will die there." Moses did as the Lord commanded. They went up Mount Hor. In the sight of the whole community, Moses removed Aaron's garments, put them on his son Eleazar, and Aaron died there on top of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain, and when the whole community learned that Aaron had died, all the Israelites mourned of him 30 days. When the Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev, heard that Israel was coming along the road to Atharim, he attacked the Israelites and captured some of them. Then Israel made this vow to the Lord: If you will deliver these people into our hands, we will totally destroy their cities. The Lord listened to Israel's plea and gave the Canaanites over to them. They completely destroyed them and their towns, so the place was called Hormah. They traveled from Mount Hor along the route to the Red Sea to go around Edom, but the people grew impatient on the way. They spoke against God and against Moses and said, "Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? There's no bread, there's no water, and we detest this miserable food." Then the Lord sent venomous snakes among them. They bit the people, and many Israelites died. The people came to Moses and said, "We sinned when we spoke against the Lord and against you. Pray that the Lord will take the snakes away from us." So Moses prayed for the people. The Lord said to Moses, "Make a snake and put it up on a pole. Anyone who is bitten can look at it and live." So Moses made a bronze snake and put it up on a pole. Then when anyone was bitten by a snake and looked at the bronze snake, they lived. The Israelites moved on and camped at Oboth. Then they set out from Oboth and camped in Abram, in the wilderness that faces Moab towards the sunrise. From there they moved on and camped in the Zered Valley. They set out from there and camped along the Arnon, which is in the wilderness extending into Amorite territory. The Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. That is why the book of the wars of the Lord says, Zahab and Sobha and the ravines, the Arnon and the slopes of the ravines that lead to the settlement of Ar and lie among the border of Moab. From there they continued on to Beer, the well where the Lord said to Moses, "Gather the people together and I will give them water." Then Israel sang the song, "Spring up, O well, sing about it, about the well that the princes dug, that the nobles of the people sang, the nobles with scepters and staffs." Then they went from the wilderness to Madinah, from Madinah to Nahil, from Nahil to Bamath, and from Bamath to the valley of Moab, where the top of Pisgah overlooks the wasteland. Israel sent messengers to say to Sihon, king of Amorites, "Let us pass through your country. We will not turn aside into any field or vineyard or drink water from any well. We will travel along the king's highway until we have passed through your territory." But Sihon would not let Israel pass through his territory. He mustered his entire army and marched out into the wilderness against Israel. When he reached Jahaz, he fought with Israel. Israel, however, put him to the sword and took over his land from the Arnon to the Jabbok, but only as far as the Ammonites, because their border was fortified. Israel captured all the cities of the Amorites and occupied them, including Heshbon and all its surrounding settlements. Heshbon was the city of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and had taken from him all his land as far as the Arnon. This is why the poets say, "Come to Heshbon, and let it be rebuilt. Let Sihon's city be restored." Fire went out from Heshbon, a blaze from the city of Sihon. It consumed Ar of Moab, the citizens of Arnon's height. Woe to you, Moab! You are destroyed, people of Chemosh. He has given up his sons as fugitive and his daughters as captives to Sihon's kings of Amorites. But we have overthrown them. Heshbon's dominion has been destroyed all the way to Dibon. We have demolished them as far as Nopah, which extends to Medeba. So Israel settled in the land of the Amorites. After Moses had sent spies to Jazer, the Israelites captured its surrounding settlements and drove out the Amorites who were there. Then they turned and went up along the road towards Bashan, and Og, king of Bashan, and his whole army marched out to meet them in the battle of Edrei. The Lord said to Moses, "Do not be afraid of him, for I have delivered him into your hands, along with his whole army and his land. Do to him what you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon." So they struck him down together with his sons and his whole army, leaving them no survivors. And they took possession of his land. Then the Israelites traveled to the plains of Moab and camped along Jordan across the Jericho. Now Balak son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, and Moab was terrified because there were so many people. Indeed, Moab was filled with dread because of the Israelites. The Moabites said to the elders in Midian, "This horde is going to lick up everything around us, as an ox licks up the grass of the field." So Balak, son of Zippor, who was king of Moab at the time, sent messengers to summon Balaam, son of Beor, who was at Pethor near the Euphrates River, in his native land. Balak said, "A people has come out of Egypt. They cover the face of land and have settled next to me. Now come and put a curse on these people, because they are too powerful for me. Perhaps then I will be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land. For I know that whoever you bless is blessed, and whoever you curse is cursed." The elders of Moab and the Midian left, taking with them the fee of divination. When they came to Balaam, they told him what Balak had said. "Spend the night here," Balaam said to them, "and I will report back to you with the answer the Lord gives me." So the Moabite officials stayed with him. God came to Balaam and asked, "Who are these men with you?" Balaam said to God, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent me this message. A people that has come out of Egypt covers the face of the land. Now come and put a curse on them for me. Perhaps then I will be able to fight them and drive them away." But God said to Balaam, "Do not go with them. You must not put a curse on those people, because they are blessed." The next morning Balaam got up and said, "Balak's officials, go back to your own country, for the Lord has refused to let me go with you." So the Moabite officials returned to Balak and said, "Balaam refused to come with us." Then Balak sent other officials, more numerous, more distinguished than the first. They came to Balaam and said, "This is what Balak son of Zippor says. Do not let anything keep you from coming to me, because I will reward you handsomely, and do whatever you say. Come and put a curse on these people for me." But Balaam answered them, "Even if Balak gave me all the silver and gold in his palace, I could not do anything great or small to go beyond the command of the Lord my God. Now spend the night here so I can find out what else the Lord will tell me." That night God came to Balaam and said, Since these men have come to summon you, go with them, but do only what I tell you." Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the Moab officials. But God was very angry that he went, and the angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. Balaam was riding on his donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand, he turned off the road into a field. Balaam beat it to get back on the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path through the vineyards with walls on both sides. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it pressed down close to the wall, crushing Balaam's foot against it. So he beat the donkey again. Then the angel of the Lord moved on ahead and stood in the narrow path where there was no room to turn, either to the right or to the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it lay down under Balaam, and he was angry and beat it with his staff. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and it said to Balaam, "What have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times?" Balaam answered the donkey, "You have made a fool of me. If only I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you right now." The donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your own donkey, which you have always ridden to this day? Have I been in the habit of doing this to you?" "No," he said. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with his sword drawn. So he bowed low and fell face down. The angel of the Lord asked him, "Why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? I have come here to oppose you because your path is a reckless one. before me. The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If it had not turned away, I would certainly have killed you by now, but I would have spared it." Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, "I have sinned. I did not realize you were standing in the road to oppose me. Now if you are displeased, I will go back." The angel of the Lord said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but speak only what I tell you." So Balaam went with Balak's officials. When Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the Moabite town on the Arnon border at the edge of his territory. Balak said to Balaam, "Did I not send you an urgent summons? Why didn't you come to me? Am I really not able to reward you?" "Well, I have come to you now," Balaam replied, "but I can't say whatever I please. I must speak only what God puts in my mouth." Then Balaam went with Balak to Kirath Huzoth. Balak sacrificed cattle and sheep and gave some to Balaam and the officials who were with him. The next morning Balak took Balaam up to Baal, and from there he could see the outskirts of the Israelite camp.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to Fear into Faith Global Bible Revival, where we are passionate about getting people to read the Word of God for themselves, cover to cover in a year. My name is Summer Day, and I am in the studio with Emily Houston. And let me just warn you really quick, just full disclosure, she's way too much fun, and I think this is going to be one of the funnest, craziest, wildest interviews that I've had so far.
Let's do it.
So good. Well, beautiful Emily, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Sure.
Married, kids, all those things.
All the things. Okay. I am from Northwestern Hills. I still live in Northwestern Hills, Texas. I have 3 beautiful daughters. They're 6, 4, and 2.
Love it.
And I am divorced a year and a half now, about a year and a half. I married my high school sweetheart, and we were together for about 14 years. Wow. I did everything I could to stay in that marriage until there was no way that I could stay any longer. Wow. So the miracle is that I'm still alive today.
Wow. Wow. We have not had anybody on the show yet just boldly and courageously talk about that. So I'm applauding you, totally applauding you, because from what I hear of parts of the world and the church, just throwing out that D word of divorce can be a very big stigma. So thank you for just sharing that so boldly. I love it. I love it. You just finished reading in the studio.
Yes.
How was that for you?
It was great. I shared in before all of my readings that I've been dyslexic my entire life. And so reading aloud is not my favorite thing to do. So I'm coming here to do so in obedience to God and what he asked me to do. And there was some fumbling of words, but I'm humble and open and transparent, and that's who I am. So
good. And that's what we wanted. We did not want perfection on this show. And as a mom of 2 girls that are dyslexic, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, love it, love it that you're just like, hey, I'm going to push through this, and it might not be the best reading of this whole TV show, but I'm here to be obedient to the Lord. Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I'm far from it, but through God, I have grace, and he's able to get me through the hard stuff. And I've been through some hard stuff.
Okay, well, we're going to get there in a minute. But first, I want to know, why did you say yes to this project?
I personally actually have struggled to read the entire Bible in a order of some sort. And so I have read the entire Bible. I've read it in different chunks and not in a actual lined out reading. And so I want to be a part of that this year and reading it in a lined out reading. And every time I read, I could read the chapter of Jeremiah or any chapter in the book, and I can read it 3 times, and I'm going to get something different every time.
Yeah.
So it's encouraging to read the Bible within a year, but it's also encouraging to continue to read it. That's not a year of reading it and you're done. It's continuing to read it because you're going to get something different. God's going to speak to you differently in whatever stage of life that you're in. So I think it's important, and I want to support anybody who wants to do that.
Why do you think it's important for people to read the Word of God? Not just go to church every Sunday, but read His Word for themselves.
Well, personally, I can speak to my life, and when I was in disobedience to God and when I was not honoring the relationship that I should have with Him and putting in the effort that it takes, it's hard to, not every day do I want to read the Bible.
Yeah.
Not every day do I want to read. Some part of the Bible is just stuff I can't even pronounce.
Yeah.
So not every day do I want to do that. But when I took the step to do it every day, even when there's days that I don't want to, it made a complete change in my entire life. Wow. The way that I go about my day, the way God speaks through me, the way that He uses me, the way that I can stay in His favor, the way that when I come against trials and tribulations, how much easier I'm equipped with the weapon, which is what He gives us in the Bible, and His Word is our weapon to fight the devil.
Yeah.
And the more that I read it, and every day, even when I don't want to, wake up and do it, or I have something going on, there's all kinds of things that happen in life, especially with 3 kids under 6.
Yeah.
But I make the time to do it, and being obedient in that, I get favor. I stay in God's favor, and I have a weapon when the devil tries to come upon me, because he will. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm equipped with my weapon, which is the Bible.
So good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, my favorite question to ask just about everybody is the story of your God adventure, if you were raised in the church or any of that. So you got this beautiful look on your face. So I'm like, ooh, hang on for the ride.
Yes, I was. Yes,
Did you grow up in the church?
I was. Yes, my parents were divorced when I was 2. My dad's Catholic, my mom's Baptist, so I was a little bit of everything, and then now I'm non-denominational.
Are you switching back and forth? So when you visited Dad, you were going to a Catholic church?
I was.
Was that like an every other weekend?
It was every other weekend. One weekend I was Catholic, the next weekend I was Baptist. And I got something from both, and I'm neither of those now. I'm non-denominational. I believe in the Bible and what it says, but I learned more from that. I mean, what those experiences are. I can relate to so many more. God is using that to relate to people who are Catholic, who grew up Baptist and in the country. I have such a variety in who I can reach because of the diversity my parents have given me. I have an understanding of what it's like to go to Catholic church and get on your knees and pull the pew out and don't talk and you're going to get hit if, and not understanding what's being said. As a kid, it was difficult to understand, why are these churches so different? What is the purpose? And I went to a church camp, and I came back from church camp. I went to church camp every summer, and I came back from church camp, and I sat at the dinner table, and I told my mom, hey, I just want you to know, I asked Jesus in my heart while I was at church camp. And my mom's just bawling.
What was the church camp? Was it a Baptist church camp? Okay.
Yeah, it was Baptist
and how
church.
Old were you?
I was 8.
8.
No, I'm sorry. I was 9.
9. Okay. And you came home and you're like, hey, Mom, by the way. Okay. And
she was crying at the dinner table, and she's like, this is the greatest thing ever. We got to go get you baptized at Wiley Baptist Church where I grew up. All my kids are going to get baptized there. And I'm like, okay, yeah, they told me to baptize is the next thing to do. So, I'm very type A person. I'm like, what do we need to do? How can I?
Yeah.
And, believing in Jesus at such a young age was great, but it also comes with all that time that I came in my life, that trials and as soon as you accept Jesus, it's not like everything's perfect, everything's going to be great. It's, okay, here's the enemy.
Yes, you have to say that again for the people in the back row, because it seems that sometimes people think that. You just accept Jesus. And a lot of us, when I was 16, I had a very incredible experience with Jesus in the woods, in the snow, freezing cold, and suddenly was all warm, and it was beautiful. And I think there is that misconception of, you have this great encounter with the Lord, and then everything's going to be just roses and amazing.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's not what happened.
It's almost instantly that you come again. The devil is under attack. You're under attack. Because you have made such a profound confession and doing it. For me in church camp, and I was so young, people are like, what do you even know at that age? You don't even know. But I did know. I had an understanding at that age of what I was doing and what I wanted my life to look like and why I needed him in it. And then from then on, just life, I became the middle child that was disobedient and wild and didn't listen. And, that's the one you have to tame. And I made it. I'm okay. Us middle children, we're the greatest ones.
Middle children, we are the greatest. I think my middle child would agree with you.
Yeah, all the middle children out there, we are the best ones. Best.
So you went through struggles.
Mm-hmm.
And how long did these struggles last?
Oh,
Actually, I get to pause you. Sorry. Can't answer yet. We're going to go on a commercial break. We'll be right back. I got
We're all experiencing skin issues from wearing masks during the pandemic. Friction, irritation, sweat, and bacteria accumulate under face coverings, causing maskne breakouts. But there's good news. The Good Skin Matters Maskne solution is here for you. At Good Skin Matters, we can help you with all of your skincare needs. Visit our site and click on the link for your insider report on the top 5 at-home facial processes to calm, soothe, and clear your skin. Take the work out of your skincare routine. Good Skin Matters. Visit us today.
Join people from all walks of life from all over the globe as we read the Bible from cover to cover on Global Bible Revival, right here on Zonder TV.
We are back, and I left a cliffhanger. I asked you a question and then went, we ran out of time. But I was asking you, so you went through a season, you're disobedient, all that kind of stuff. Kind of how long did that last, that season that you were going through?
I think that I kind of always was a little bit defiant in pushing the rules. Like, how can I push what I'm being told? Like, how can I push against what I'm supposed to do? And, it led into my relationship with my ex-husband. And I met him in high school, and we went to the same schools for all this time. We never met. And, he and I met when I was 15, and I was saving myself for marriage, and I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do. And he was nice to me, and we went through this marriage, and I, tried as much as I could, but of course I fell
How old
short.
were you when you got married?
Well, we got married after having 2 children.
Oh, okay. So
I did not save myself.
You were skipping that part. It's weird how that happened.
Yeah, I was kind of
So
skipped
how
on that
old were
part.
you when you had your first child?
I was 23.
Which is crazy because you look 21.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm 30, but I was 23
Okay.
when I had her. And
So you guys were together from age 15 all the way to 23.
yeah, all the way until
Wow.
28,
Okay.
9.
And then you had your first child.
Yeah, we had our first child, and while I was pregnant with her, before all that, kind of to go back, he kind of got in some trouble, and he was around the wrong people, made the wrong choices, went to prison. He broke it off.
Goodness.
Yes, he's a felon. He's a 2-time felon.
Wow.
He broke it off
This was before you got pregnant?
before I got pregnant, before
Wow.
all the things. And I felt it in me. And even before my dad told me, do not be with this man, he's awful, I was disobedient. I was defiant. I know him better than
You're not the boss of me.
you see a version of him and I see a different version of him. All those things we say as young adolescent age, we don't understand what our parents are truly trying to tell us. And not only was my earthly father telling me, but God was telling me, and he continued to tell me. And when he went to prison, he continued to tell me.
How long was he in prison?
Almost 2 years. And during that time, I went and moved on my own. Was doing all these great things that I wasn't doing when I was with him.
So you moved out and you
Moved out, got my own apartment.
Were you going to church?
Were you going back to church, getting back in the community, making friends, all these things that I didn't do, I didn't realize that I was missing during that age. And I was like, I'm not going to get back with him. I'm not going to talk to him. He got out and we got back together. We got pregnant. It's kind of speed up to that.
Wow.
You can check out the rest of this interview right here or by going to BibleRevival.tv. And if this show has blessed you, you can help us bless others by partnering with us for as little as $20 a month and help us to expand the reach of this show. We'd also like to invite you to join our Kingdom Discipleship Program, where you have an opportunity to get on weekly Bible Zoom calls with us and people around the world to deep dive into His Word. And you can check all that out at BibleRevival.tv. I'll see you next time, my friend.